Hi, welcome to Aunt Hetty's Creative Home. I'm Heather. Here we do crafting, baking, cooking, and other do-it-yourself crafts. Please join me today. We're going to make a mason jar scarecrow. So first we're going to start out by just taking some either acrylic paint or chalk paint. I used acrylic paint and it was from Dollar General, and it really didn't cover very well. I had to do several coats to get it to cover, but I do like the color of it. It's just a beige. So as you can see, I'm putting the paint on. It's worked easiest for me to just drizzle it down the side because that way I didn't waste paint. I wasn't sure I was going to have enough with just this little jar, so I was just trying to make sure none of it got wasted. Actually worked out pretty well that way. And I did find out if you do it with the rim on the bottom, like I have it here, it does make it easier to paint, because when you get done here with this first coat and you go around the opening, it's a lot easier than after that. You can put it in your hand, the jar in your hand, to paint if you need to. So here I'm just putting a little more paint around the side. Now I did end up doing 3 coats of paint, and I did each one like this. Just keep going over it, letting it dry thoroughly. I did have the jar cleaned very well first, and I also put some rubbing alcohol on it to make sure it was clean, and it was dry. It had to be completely dry before you start painting. So here I'm just making another coat. Do any of you decorate with scarecrows? I've never been a real big scarecrow person. I think they're kind of cute. This is my second scarecrow craft I've made for this season, and they're kind of growing on me. The grandkids like them, so that helps. I did only put 2 or 3 coats, I think 2 coats on the bottom, because it isn't going to show. But you do want to flip it over before your end of your last coat, because you're going to want to make sure you get around the very top of your jar. Now here you can see I had to squirt the paint out, and I decided to kind of stipple the paint. So what I did is just put some on a foam brush and then just kind of dot it on so that it stipples to make it a little thicker and give it a little texture. And that was exactly what I needed to do. It helps so much, and it got rid of the streaks and made it coat a lot more evenly. So you can see how it works to just keep it on my hand and go around. I don't have to worry about paint coming off onto my parchment paper, which, by the way, if you don't have anything that you paint on, it really works great to have parchment paper down, because you can just throw away the whole deal when you're done. So now we got it painted. I'm going to start with some burlap ribbon. This does have wire around it, and the wire is somewhat important for this part because you're going to want it to stand up straight. So here I'm kind of messing around with how much I'm going to need. I'm making a hat and a bow. So just want to get a decent size. I'm using another wired ribbon for that, and it will just be basic. I just tie it in the middle tight with some twine, and then I'm just going to take the ends and snip them off. And I have another ribbon that I'm going to use. It's a light beige, similar to the burlap color, but it's a lacy kind of fabric, and it does not have to be wired because I'm just going to wrap it in the center to give the bow a better shape. So now I can start gluing some of these things on. I'm going to just go around the edge of the top of this jar, and I'm going to just put a ring of glue that I can stick this outside edge to. And then when I get to the end, I'll glue that together so it stays. And I'm also going to stick a bunch of, you can use Spanish moss, you can use any kind of dried grasses or raffia, whatever you can find that you have on hand will work. We just want it to look somewhat like straw coming out of the top. This is going to be a kind of whimsical scarecrow. You could also make the hair go down on the sides if you put some around that burlap band before we glued it down. I just wanted mine to have some up on the top coming out. I just put enough down into the jar so that just enough stuck out on the top, but it'll make it easier to stay in place when it's being held up by a lot in the bottom. So here I just glued on the bow. I'm trimming it up just a little bit, making sure everything gets the right size. And then I'm going to take a pencil and very lightly draw on the face. It does help to use the pencil. It just gives it a little more security before you use that markers. So once I get the basic shape down, I'm going to take, these are paint markers, and they're fabric markers also, and they work great. They didn't bleed into the paint or anything like that. They just will give it a nice coat. And here I just go over each of the lines that I drew with the pencil. I'm adding some eyelashes. And I am not good at drawing, and so I always struggle with faces and things like that. So that's why I say it's a whimsical scarecrow. So now that I have the basic outline drawn on, I'm going to fill in some color. I decided to put brown eyes, and I just went with a somewhat closed eyelid. You could do round ones. I've seen people use buttons for the eyes, whatever you're comfortable with. Then I'm going to use an orange for the nose. And you do want to be careful when you get close to the black outline that you don't bring in any of the black that will bleed into the orange. So you just have to watch for that. Now I'm going to be bringing the black back out. I'm going to make it look like the nose is patched on with thread. So I'm going to make the marks for that on the nose and then a little bit of the center part of the mouth. This just gives it a little more character. You can tell she's starting to come along a little bit. I ended up adding some eyebrows and some black to the top of the eyelids and some cheeks. And here's how she looks with my other fall decor. I'm not sure where I'm going to put this yet. I'm thinking maybe out on my front porch when I get it decorated. And of course, I'll be showing you all when I get done decorating the front porch. I'll have a big reveal, I'm sure. The next craft that I'm going to make today is going to be a fall sign. We're going to use the back of a Dollar Tree sign. I got this last year, and I believe they have something similar out this year, if not the same thing. And it's just going to be for me, so I'm not going to paint or sand down anything on the front side. So I'm just going to start by taking out the string, and we'll use that later. Try to reuse everything I can. And I'm just going to give this a good coat of paint. I'm using some Oops paint from Home Depot that somebody got a sample of that was wrong. And it's an off-white color. So I'm just going to give it all one coat, and I did a pretty decent coat on it all, and one coat was all I needed. And I kind of did around the sides as well. Now this sign is going to say, "Hey Boo," and I won't probably put it out till closer to Halloween. I like to have fall up for quite a while first, and I don't do a whole lot different for Halloween. But anyway, I'm going to print the hay out in black, and the boo part is going to be in orange. So that's what I am printing out on the Cricut here. And you can see I've used my transfer tape. I've got the hay in place, and then I used iron-on HTV vinyl for the boo. That's just what I had in stock, so that's why I did it that way. And then I'm going to take this black ribbon that was through it, and I'm going to re-thread it through the holes, which isn't as easy as you would think. And then just going to tie it in a knot. And because I didn't do anything to the flip side, you can always flip it over and use that side also, as it was unharmed. I decided I need a little something more up in this space, so I cut out a spider on the Cricut, and I'm trying to decide where I want it placed. And I thought it looked best kind of hanging off of the Y of the hay word. I thought it just looked really cute there. So here I'm just transferring it onto the board. And I didn't distress this one or anything. I liked it just the way it was. And there's what it looks like finished. I think it was very simple, but it came out nice, and it'll be a nice addition to the porch. That's all I've got for you today. I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.